Hey everyone, welcome back. Let's get into the exciting matchup tonight. Game 3 in the association. We have the Indiana Pacers hosting the Oklahoma City Thunder. It'll be a raucous environment. A lot of people sleep on the venue, okay? And I do think that, maybe it's not the best media market. Maybe it's not the desirable place for free agents to come and sign. But as you look at these games and you look at some of these home crowds, it's going to be a absolute insane venue tonight as we look for Indiana to be rolling. Pat McAfee will be live. Hopefully gets a crowd fired up a little bit pregame like we saw last series against the Knicks. It'll be one where I think I will be definitely tuning in, and having Reggie Miller kind of on the call, if he is going to be on the call. I haven't really checked, but it just is kind of, full circle a little bit as the Pacers look to take a 2-1 series lead at home. Okay, we're going to get into the storyline. We're going to obviously talk the numbers. We're going to look into the total, the sides, as well as a few props I will be targeting. So if you are going to be betting Game 3 in the NBA, make sure you stick around to the end of this video where I will share with you guys my insight and analysis of this game. All right, but for those of you that are new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and join us. We do talk sports betting every single day here on the channel. Free picks, as always. All I ask in return is that you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Completely free to do so, okay? So let's get into it. We are going to use Outlier to break this all down. And as we look at it, guys, the Indiana Pacers are 5.5-point dogs at home currently, best number out there. We can see the total set at 228.5. As we look at the handle, okay, an overwhelmingly amount of the handle on the side of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Could be the sharper number out there. However, we have seen this point spread drop. You can find fives out there in the market, okay? And that's where if you like Indiana, minus 107, you can find if you do want to bet it. That is the current form. I know that Outlier is not actually showing that, but I did just find it, so please keep that in mind. Also, as we look at the point total, we're basically a 1 point move to the over as we have opened up at 227.5. Now seeing 228.5s in the market. All right, but I do want to talk about this kind of backstory between this game before we get into the actual numbers, okay? So one thing that does concern me in this spot, and probably the most concerning little bit of a nugget here, okay? Oklahoma City, they are kind of having some road woes, okay? And I think that some of the betting trends do support this, but it is the NBA Finals, so all bets are off, okay? And Indiana, albeit they did come out surprisingly flat, but these betting trends in the NBA Finals are very profitable year in and year out, okay? So as we saw it, right now we look into the Game 3s for the Pacers, okay? They have not done well in Game 3, okay? They have basically not covered and lost in every single Game 3 in every single series. Now they face, albeit one of the, if not the best #1 defensive team in the NBA. And then you look at kind of the Thunder, okay? Now as we look at the Thunder, they don't play well on the road, okay? That's kind of where you look at kind of what they've done. Also, they have not won a Game 3, okay? So we got to kind of battle these trends against each other and formulate our opinion which side we're going to be on, okay? There's a couple ways to do it. Me personally, I think that unless you have strong conviction on one side or another, I would just lay off the side, okay? I think it's too much. You have to have a clear-cut conviction, say the Thunder are going to win by 10. They're going to just blow them out of the water. They're the better team. Or, quite frankly, you just got to say, hey, Indiana's going to be competitive at home, and the Thunder are going to struggle again once more on the road, okay? But as these Game 3s stack up, it just definitely sets up for a back and forth. The storyline of the first two games have told different stories. The shooting woes in Game 1 going under, and then we did see a 123-107 finish there as Indiana sniffing that team total again, mind you, in a loss, and the Thunder getting over 120 points at home. Definitely sets up for a little case to be made for the over, okay? And I'm going to share with you guys why Indiana, they do play a little bit better, a little bit faster at home. I look for a little bit more efficiency. They're going to have the home court fans in their back pocket as well. But I think this is something where you look for Indiana. And the one thing that has been kind of sharp if you are betting against Indiana, their first quarter, right? The Thunder defensively have been shutting them down. At home, it might be a different story, but first quarter team total unders for the Indiana Pacers have been very profitable. I think that right now this is something where you look for Oklahoma City. The one that I do latch onto you really have to ask yourself, is Indiana fake? Okay, if they're fool's gold, if the Cavs just were not on their stuff, if the Knicks were just not a worthy opponent, it does kind of lend you to the conversation that, hey, let's just get back to the basics here. This was a 7-game series, and a lot of very sharp minds thought that the Oklahoma City Thunder would win and roll in 4 games, and that's kind of where I stack up. Okay, me personally, that's kind of where I'm at, and I know that Indiana, for me and my money, I've been very profitable betting Indiana money lines throughout this NBA playoffs, even against my hometown Cavaliers. Okay, there is no sides or emotions within sports betting. Albeit I was rooting for the Cavaliers, I was on the beneficial side of the Indiana Pacers money line quite a few times. Okay. And that did continue through the next series, as well as kind of what we're looking into with the Pacers here in a few spots against the Thunder I'll be targeting. Okay. So it really does come down to a lot. I know a lot of people probably have futures bets out there where they are kind of hedging and wagering against maybe having, say, Thunder minus 1.5 games. Looking at some of those numbers, also championship tickets. And that was kind of a weird one for me. There is a little bit of a sprinkle on a futures bet with the Pacers. I think 40-1 is what we had to win the NBA Finals. So got to kind of keep it all in perspective. That was kind of the way I looked at it, hedging with the minus 1.5 games. But as we look at this one, it really does lend towards me staying away from the side. Okay. And that's just me personally. If I had to give you guys a lean and you want to force me to bet it, I'm going to take Oklahoma City Thunder here. I think that potentially the Pacers are a little bit fugazi. I know that it'll be a raucous crowd, but I just don't want to be betting that the Pacers win 2 straight against the Thunder. And that's just kind of where I'm at. All right. So that's what I'm looking at. The one way that we can combat that, and I am going to show you guys the prop that I do think that is going to be fruitful. Okay. Looking at the Indiana Pacers in terms of their team total. All right. And that's where you look at the Pacers points. And right now you have to lay over 110.5 to get anything respectable. As you look at the minus 130, you can find on BetMGM. Plus 105 is 112.5. If you do think the Pacers are competitive, you think the Pacers play their game, their style of basketball, then I would recommend the over 112.5 at plus 105. And that's how I feel about it. Okay. But if you think the Thunder roll in this spot, okay, you're going to have to look against that, because I don't think that this will be a very allowing, very much scoring allowed by the Thunder if the Thunder are victorious and cover that 5.5. Okay, so that's kind of my analysis. Also, if you want to make the case and argument for the total, the one side that I do fall into, okay, would be the over. Okay, game 2 went over the total, 123-107, and as we look at these last 5 meetings between these clubs, 4 out of the 5 did go over this total. And this is kind of where we look into now. I just think the Thunder, they're kind of rolling against the Pacers. Okay. We got those game 1, game 2 jitters out of the way. I think that if you were going to hold a gun to my head, it's just an analogy, but if we were going to talk in that form, I just don't see a way or an avenue where the Pacers take 2 against the Thunder. But I will tell you guys, though, if you are a money line bettor and you want some value, for me, I'm laying it with Oklahoma City, or I'm going to be taking the Pacers money line at plus 180. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Also, I do like the Indiana team total, as we talked about it, over 111.5 at minus 110 would probably be my best bet in that direction. Okay. But I do think this one goes over the total as well. Okay. I think this is something where, you look at the first quarter, kind of slow starts. Indiana's at home. We might get a little bit more scoring in that first quarter. And that's kind of where I'm at. Okay. I think that you look into the Pacers, right, in their home games this playoffs. Okay. In 3 of their last 4 home games, they have scored over 125 points respectively. And that's kind of where I lean towards the over. Indiana team total going over. If you want to, just how much juice you want to lay, if you want plus money, it just is going to matter if you want to play 110.5, 111.5, or 112.5. Okay. So you guys make that call, but that's kind of where I'm at within the side or total. Okay. Next, I want to get into some props. This is what you guys love to do. All you guys out there formulating same game parlays and player props out there. There's a couple that I do want to talk about, and I think they are relevant to mention. We're not going to look into the first category, okay? But if you do kind of like dabbling in this, I do like this quite a bit. This will be the first team basket, okay? And this is where I look for my guy here, as we look for Pascal Siakam at plus 270. He had it last game, and it was one I did not bet, but I do like playing this in every game if I was going to get into this market. However, at plus 270, it's not too, I guess you would say, awarding for kind of going out on a limb and wagering against the field. It just, quite frankly, does not have as much value as it used to, okay? But offensively, we're going to look into it, okay? One player, we are going to go right down the board as we look at this. Obi Toppin has been a player that we have targeted in the past. He's been getting some more run. As you look at his minutes, right, he did have a little bit of a drop-off in that blow-off, 19 points. Or, I'm sorry, 19 minutes last contest to go alongside 10 points, rebounds, and assists. As you look at the 5 boards and 3 points, he did have a 3. Okay, but we still have Jarace Walker out, which does allow for more minutes for Obi Toppin. He has been getting a little bit more run. As you look at the first game against OKC, he ended up dropping 17 and 5. Okay, so he does not get it done from an assist category. Okay, but if you want to look into points and rebounds, you're only going to really be shading it by 1. Okay, so 14 and a half for Obi Toppin points and rebounds. It has cashed in 50% of his last 10 games, but I do think that Oklahoma City has clamped down on that a bit, and I do think that the correct side would be taking the under in this prop. If you do want to get involved, I would go under points, rebounds, Obi Toppin under 14 and a half. Just how I feel about it, right? You're just basically betting on his point total, okay? And the reason why I say that is he is essentially looking at an expected 9.5 points, okay? And as you look at the points and rebounds market, in his last kind of 4 games, 5 games, whatever, he's averaging about 5 rebounds. So that's set right where it needs to be as well. So if Obi drops 10 points and he does get his 5 boards, it's going to go over that. I just don't see it getting to 10 points. If you do think it does, there you go. But otherwise, I would be taking the under 14 and a half at plus 108. If you do want to kind of juice it up a little bit, you can find the under 15 and a half. That is something where you look into the minus 182 category, and I do correct myself. It is the under here for the 14 and a half is at minus 144. As you can see, guys, how this all shakes out on that bar chart. Okay. Outside of that, guys, one other bet that I do like, this is one that is very much a profitable bet that I have been making. This will be the assist for Andrew Nembhard. However, I won't be betting it because the juice at minus 145 is not profitable. Last contest, he had 4, but if you are going to build a same game parlay, getting him 4+ on FanDuel is something I definitely would have added if you are trying to get those odds up, but I don't like it in terms of minus 145. Okay, back into it. The other players that we are going to look into, kind of a sneaky play here is Ben Sheppard. I've been talking about this. His points is set at 2.5. If you look back at his last 10 games, he has had a 3-pointer in every single game. So that's kind of where you look at kind of where he stacks up from threes. He takes 2. He's averaging like 1.5 threes taken over his last 10 games. And albeit only 2 of his last 5 games, he missed those threes. And if he does shoot 2 threes, he basically is good for at least 1. So if you want a little sneaky bet, Ben Sheppard over 2.5 points at minus 115. That's something I think at home it does bode well. And if you want to kind of look at this in terms of a split, okay, you can kind of find it a little bit better if we do kind of break it down from showing only home games. Okay, that's kind of where you look at it, where he hit 3 in a row. He had 14 against Cleveland back on the 11th of May, but the last 2 contests out against the Knicks, he did not breach this at home. So keep that in mind. Okay. I think that's mostly attributed to the fact that he gets more run on the road because they were playing from behind, okay? So that's kind of how I feel about Ben Sheppard. I do like that prop quite a bit. The next one that we're going to talk about, okay, we're going to look into Luguentz Dort, okay? And it's not going to be the flashy way that you want to talk about it. I do like his point total going over as you want to look at kind of where we're seeing in the market. 7.5 at minus 130 on DraftKings. You know, it's 2 threes in a bucket. I think this is a very strong proposition. He does shoot the ball less on the road, so that's something to keep in mind. However, as we look at kind of the 3-point makes, he had 5 and 4 respectively last couple games. As we look into the Minnesota 28th game and the June 5th game against Indiana, he was jacking threes, okay? And that's kind of where you see how he had 10 and 9 attempts. Last time out against Indy, though, he only had 3 attempts and 1 make. So if you want to go over Le Guentz Dort, 1.5 threes at -154, I kind of like that bet. But the one bet that I do want to play here in the market, okay, over 1.5 steals for Le Guentz Dort at +194. I think this is a very profitable bet. One of my best bets on the day. This will be an official play. We're going to take that value +194, going Le Guentz Dort over 1.5 steals, okay? Going down the board a little bit, we are going to look into Aaron Wiggins, who has been absolutely impressive. And as you see it, guys, that 18-point performance against the Pacers last time out, I think that does kind of replicate itself. And right now, as you look at it, it's a great matchup. If you want to find some 6.5s out there at +120, you can find that. Also, DraftKings is offering 5.5 if you want to be more conservative. This is a bet that I do think that has a lot of run, okay? He only had 3 points against Indiana in that first matchup, but I think that there is something to be said why Aaron Wiggins is doing well. So take Aaron Wiggins over 5.5. That is a bet that I like as well. Okay. Outside of that, we're going to keep this going as we look into the conversation. Jalen Williams, I want to check that out for you guys. All right. As we look at kind of his numbers. And this is one where he has not been getting over his total. That bar has been set pretty high. 20.5 at -120 would be the over. If you do want to go under, okay, 21.5, you can find that at -128. That has cashed in 70% of his last 10 games. So Jalen Williams going under 21.5, I like that bet quite a bit. That is something that I would also kind of back in the spot. Halliburton, if I was going to bet him, I'm going to be looking in the point direction as well. I think that right now the number has climbed a little bit, but I think he scores more at home. So over 16.5 for Halliburton. That's the highest I will go with it at -138 on DraftKings. Another great parlay builder if you want to play the Halliburton 15 plus points. Oklahoma City Thunder for that point has been kind of shutting him down. He only had 17 last game, 14 the game prior. But I think that him going over his point total in the first game in Indy is very fruitful. So that is another bet that I do like. Okay. Going down the list a little bit more so. Pascal Siakam in terms of rebounds, we're going to kind of highlight that and his 3-pointers. As we look at kind of the rebounds, you can see how he's been doing. Right now, the bar is set pretty high, okay? You have to go -180 to get the over 6.5. I'm not going to lay the 7.5 at +104, okay? You look at the first game, he had 10. Last game, he had 7, and 3 of those came in the same possession. Keep that in mind. So I will not be dabbling into that category. The one thing I do like with him, if you can find the attempts, which right now that is only being offered on Prize Picks, I believe. Okay, 3-point attempts going over 3.5 at -119 on Prize Picks. I do like that if you do dabble in Prize Picks. However, as we look at the 3-point makes that are readily available everywhere, this is kind of where I would lean towards the over 1.5 at +155. He's hit this quite a bit. He did have a lot of attempts. As you look into kind of what he's done, he had 4 attempts last game out against OKC, only making 1. Okay, so if you do want to find some plus money, I would target Pascal Siakam over 1.5 threes. Not in love with it, but it is something that I do want to kind of make a mention of. All right, the next guy that I do think is very relevant, and this is going to be Alex Caruso. One thing with him is his steals have been absolutely impressive. What he's been able to do from a defensive standpoint. However, Alex Caruso, if you do want to lay over 9.5 at -113, he's cashed this in both games against Indy. Going on the road might be a little bit different of a task, but I do think Alex Caruso to get 10 points is a very strong proposition. That's kind of how I feel about it. If you do want to kind of make it a little different, you can look into the points and assists, which you can find right here as it still cashes. It takes it up to 11.5. He's only had 2 assists in the first 2 games, only in game 1, to be honest. So it doesn't really give me that much more value. However, points, rebounds, he had 6 and 3 collectively. So if you do want to kind of give yourself some more headway, I would recommend taking the points and rebounds going over 12.5 for Alex Caruso at -136. That will be a bet that I'm making as well, as he had 6 boards and 3 boards respectively in that the first and second game of this finals. Okay, the last kind of ones that I do want to talk about before we get on our way. that's where we're going to go down the board a little bit. Isaiah Hartenstein, you can look in his rebound market. I'm not too in love with it being on the road. I do think that they are going to deploy Chet Holmgren a little bit more. But I want to show you guys kind of that Holmgren number, okay, because I do think his points going over is still a viable option, right? 14.5 at -120. He hit that right on the nose in game 2. I thought it was a little bit more reversion to the mean. I could definitely see an avenue where he gets at least 15 in this spot on the road. So I do like Chet Holmgren -20 at the over 14.5 quite a bit. Okay, so that'll about wrap it up. Those are my best bets. I kind of ran the whole board and talked a lot of different player props. If you have not done so by now, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and join us. But the bets that I will be making, I really do like the Alex Caruso points and rebounds going over 12.5. We will also be taking the flyer as we look for what is his name? Forgive me. Okay, this will be Ben Shepherd going over 2.5 points. Also, I do like the prop with LeGuentz Dort going over 1.5 3-pointers. Also 1.5 threes. Those will be bets that I will be making as well. And I do like Halliburton getting getting over 16.5. It's just, where can you find that number? Okay, but the best bet on the form of the side in total, we're going to go over full game at 227.5 at -115. Also, I will be taking the Indiana team total going over 111.5 as well. So appreciate you guys. Good luck with your tickets. Let me know what you guys will be betting for tonight's contest. If you have not done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and join us. But I appreciate you guys all tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.